for now we are good and live. So hi everyone, I welcome you to weekly dev meeting. Hopefully my screen is visible to you all and you also access this talks, by the way, which is shared just now in the chat box. So head on to this, write your name, attendees, and also if you have any items that you want to discuss, and if it's around Meshery, you also can mention all. Before we get started with the topic, let's first follow our tradition, and that is if you are a newcomer to this call, you can unmute yourself and give a quick intro. And I don't think there's a newcomer in between us. Harsh is yet not connected to you, so we'll ask him if he's back. Yeah, so there's no newcomer, just other than hers, and he's yet not connected to audio. We'll ask him to give intro in the chat. All right, folks. So this is a weekly meeting, like I said, and it's around Meshery project, which is also one of the CNCF project. And in terms of project velocity, the ninth fastest growing project. It's a cloud native manager, which lets you do everything that you will do through, a usual YAML way in a visual designer tool. So you can do all sorts of things like designing, deploying, and building your cloud infrastructure in a collaborative way with your teams or, colleagues or friends, just like we right now all can write our name in the attendees on this Google Docs. So you can also think of it as Google Docs for DOPS folks. And there are a couple of resources for you to get started with familiarizing yourself with the project. All of them will, are linked into this docs. So let me also once again, share this for those of you who may have just joined. So yeah, you can write in the attendees and also can mention any of the items that you have to discuss. All right, so that was about the intro part. Now let's take some of the standing agenda items. For Meshery CTL, we are missing Matthew on the call. He sent word that he will not be able to attend the call. So we'll be skipping past this, but there's this item on UI migration that I think Amit will be able to quickly cover. So Amit, do you mind taking us through?
Yeah. So previously we are tracking the migration of this the MVA version 4 to 5, and now we are means the Meshery UI is completely now running in the Meshery Material UI version 5 or the assistant one. So we finally migrate the Meshery UI and some of extension to the Material UI version 5, and now some of the small extensions are left to migrate to the Material version 5 or the assistant. And after this thing, like there is some roadmap to migrate, like other thing that I created one issue for that, the upcoming migration that we needed, like the node migration or the Next.js migration, Material UI, and the React upgrade. So we are quite back compared to the latest version of those items. So yeah, now we are tracking those migration in the GitHub issue for the next version of the this, like the no, currently we are in the node 18 supported, and the next is 12 version or the Material version 5, and the React is 17. So yeah, we are tracking to migrate those to the upcoming version. And also, like we are going to migrate the extension of uh, other extension to those version. Yeah, these are the update regarding this Material version 4 migration.
Wow. Amit, say it one more time. So the Meshery is done with the migration from MUI v4 to v5?
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally right. We are the Meshery is migrated to the material version 5 now.
Wow. Wow. Great job. Great job, guys. That's been a long time we've been working on that one. So we just got green across the board, across column B. And looks like along the way, we removed a couple of deprecated pages as well. So we've got, I won't even talk about what 99 was, but row 100 sounds like I know some discussions that have been happening, maybe even some work that, I mean, you might talk about today had a little bit to do with like, kind of getting started wizard, or like a connection wizard inside of Meshery. So maybe that's a temporary deprecation. But I guess the large point of what you're saying right now is, migration complete. So we're gonna start to have a totally new set of conversations about where this component of Meshery is going, the Meshery UI. And it sounds like what you had just had in the open issue is a fairly comprehensive plan for, well, the different frameworks that are being used to help run the UI, where they're at currently, where they need to go. If these are not listed in priority order, or maybe I guess I should ask, are they listed in priority? If not, maybe just some.
Yeah, they are not in the priority order. I will refactor those.
Great. And for those of you who are on the call and interested in this area or already working in this area, now's your chance to speak up or to make comments on the issue or to suggest what those priorities are, or maybe these are the wrong, or maybe there's better focus for us. So this is a good opportunity to jump in. Amit, I wonder, as this gets solidified this week, it seems highly appropriate that any amount of this would surface inside of the roadmap for .9.
Yeah,
And so
that makes sense.
this is but looks well organized. For my part, I get it. It's easy to see the different frameworks that we're using. They're organized here where we're currently at, where they would ideally go. I wonder if, well, I guess there's kind of a couple of ways of looking at this. I wonder if all of this is feasible within a .9 timeframe, or if it is necessary, or like which aspects are what's more painfully holding us back to the next. Because at some point, if we keep being successful with things like this MUI v5 migration, we won't be prioritizing based on where our largest pain point is, where we're so far behind on, but we'll be prioritizing based on the feature enhancements down below. Like what do we need from those later stage frameworks to further the functionality of Meshery UI. So that's great. I like the fact that you've got, you called out XState and RJSF as two, core libraries, in addition to the ones that you've got above. So just keeping a visual eye on those two libraries, that makes a lot of sense. Great. And Assistant, I guess, is like, extremely closely tied to this whole issue, and how it is that, the Meshery being probably the Meshery UI being the biggest user of the Assistant design system, that, I suppose it wouldn't be any stretch of the imagination to consider that what is planned here has a significant impact on, Assistant's roadmap as well, that design systems roadmap. So it's not Meshery UI isn't the only implementation that uses Assistant, but since it's the largest, it probably has a fair bit of influence. So good deal. Do we, yeah. Is there a separate item tracking some of this in Assistant just yet, or is this kind of the start of what that might be?
Yeah, so I created only the one general issue in the Meshery repo, no, not in the particular assistant or any other places.
Yeah, as you think on that, and as other people on the call hopefully jump in and collaborate with you, because I know a lot of people had collaborated on MUI v5. I'll point out that Antoinette Caldwell, she has helped organize a fair bit of issues within Inside Assistant with respect to either, component-based work or publishing of components or things like the next version of Next.js that you're tracking there. And so there's some footwork that's already been done, which is great.
Yeah. So, any other suggestion or feedback from anyone? Yeah, the one thing we can quickly do, like we are also tracking here, the migrating the class-based component to the function-based component, and some of are already done. So if anyone interested in this migration of the class-based to functional-based, so we'll quickly finish this thing.
Yes, I can definitely contribute to that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit, for sharing the update on UI migration. I'll be quickly sharing my screen and hopefully it's visible again. All right, so let's then cover this standing agenda item, which is our test plan and also 0.9 GitHub milestone, wrap. So there are a couple of issues open on it, and if you would like part of this release, you can voluntarily ask for assignment for any one of these in which you may be feeling comfortable and contributing to the project. So I'll be sharing these two links in chat. Okay? The test into testing in Meshery UI and also unit testing in Meshery CTL. So this tracks all those comments. So take a look at that. Yeah, you think you can contribute to, jump in, and there are a couple of people here who will be more than happy to help you out and help you start for both of these in the chat. And before we start with the topics, let's quickly cover this little announcement about our programs, open programs. So of many programs that we participate in, per year, we have particularly implementation process for LFX and GROC program, about which you can learn more on this page. So the next one is also accepting applications, and you also can read about the project ideas, which is there for and similar to Summer Code 2. And we have 3 ideas listed. I've submitted, but we can have more. So at this point, I would like other maintainers as well. If you have any idea that you think can get into goal for 25, make sure that you propose them, and we can work to get those ideas into this season. So once again, these are in the box and also to the box. For contributors would be very opportune moment to be engaging in the projects and trying for these programs. So that was all. Any words from anyone of you on the call who would like to share more about it? It will be starting with the top.
It's almost like playing a game. It's like fill in the missing word from Vivek, because it's every other word that you get. Anyway, did anyone need a recap, or did everyone get the fact that Meshery is the most popular LFX internship? Does everyone know that? There's a lot of mentors here, and there's a ton of effort that goes into offering up internships. And those internships, we take those through different programs, some through the Linux Foundation, some through a Google program, some through a Layer 5 program. Some of you have participated in those as a mentee. Some of you have participated in them as a mentor. Anybody have questions on those? Comments on them? Here's the one for LFX. LFX, Linux Foundation X. X for everything. Meshery's there. There's 3 right here. There's a 4th Meshery in here somewhere. No questions, no comments. Usually people are just jumping up and down. I know people ask me at least about 8 to 10 people ask me a day, every day, some of the same questions. So maybe I've answered them all. And there's Meshery at the top. Okay, I guess there's no questions. Cool. We're back to the standing agenda then.
Thanks, Lee. Yep. Yeah, so we have a couple of people sending word that they will not be able to attend. So we'll be skipping past this set of updates from Yash Sharma. But yeah, if you'd like to take a look on his PRs, feel free to do so. The link will be in the docs itself. But I think Lawrence is on the call and would like to cover this update. Oh no, looks like we are missing Lawrence as well. So Amit, do you mind reminding them if they join, we'll be able to cover their items
Yeah, sure.
for Lawrence?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. And similarly for Matthew as well, he's also not in attendance today. But hey, we have Ria, and I think she's all set to share an update on these 2 updates from Meshery ATL. So Ria, do you mind taking the stage?
Hope the screen is visible. So I was working on this one thing, which is enhancing the error logs for model import, as I discussed in the previous meet. So to tell the users that if they are not conforming to the Meshery model schema, and if they are importing any non-OCI artifact, and if there are any empty components and relationships folder. So for these 2, I was going through the code, and I think these 2 can be combined into one, and we can tell the user that they have to provide a non-OCI image, as well as it should conform with the Meshery model schema. If we want to separate them out, then there would be a lot of code that would go into Meshkit and all. So as we discussed in the last meet, that for these small changes, we don't need to make very large changes in the code. So yeah, that's what I was figuring out. Any feedback on this? Okay. And the next thing that I was working on is the model generate. So I was going through model generate command, and so I was trying to understand how it fits into model init, model build, and model import, all these. And as Lee mentioned here in on the Slack as well, that this file is the one, if we are able to generate this, then model init would be done. So probably we can add this particular command, model generate, into our flow, because otherwise right now what we were thinking is that we have model init command, we have model build command, model import command, but this command was not at all, nowhere in the pipeline. I could not see it. So today I was trying to explore this command. So yeah, that's it for this one. Any feedback?
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by putting it in the flow.
Putting in flow means like, so right now, if someone wants to generate models, what they do is they use registry generate, and get the model from the sheet, and then we use the model. We have a directory created with the model, and then we import that. But we don't need registry generate, because model generate was actually already there, but it was with a different name. It was with import here. Someone here was also solving this issue. So I got to know that we already have a command called model generate that would generate it from the file system. But the problem here is that we are generating it from CSVs only, and we should be able to generate it from the sheet as well. So we don't need registry generate. So I was thinking along these lines. I'm not like very solid on how it would fit, but this is something that I was exploring. If someone has any thoughts, if someone has explored this model generate command, then it would be very helpful. All right, then I'll move to the next one. Then we have Meshery. So refactoring, and this PR was made a long time back, but it is merged now. It just got merged yesterday. So now we do not need. So if in model, sorry, in design import, now we do not need to specify the source type. Before that, we need to specify that if we are using a help chart or anything. So now if a user can just put the file, and the server would process it and identify what file it is. Is it a Helm chart or is it a manifest file? So yeah, that's it. Any feedback on this? That's it from my updates.
Topic, no feedback there.
No, that's good. I've reviewed this one. For the generate command, I have to look into it. I'll catch up with Ria as well.
Yeah.
I think there's certainly,
Thank you for-
Ria had said that generate and model might need to come together potentially. You're not ready to do that though, so don't make that plan. And we won't be getting rid of the generate command from the registry. Like that's like the most essential command to this process. So,
We
yeah.
won't be getting, actually, we won't be getting rid of that. But I was just saying that if someone wants to generate a model, in that case, then we do not need to get it from the registry. Like we don't need that command over there in this particular flow. This is what I meant. Like if for other flows, if there are any that uses registry generate, then that would be there.
Bobby, so looks like you are up next.
Okay, I'll go ahead. Yeah. So one of the uh, things I was working on was fixing the uh, model generation pipeline, which was workflow which was breaking due to a large number of commits being generated. So for now, for a quick fix, I generated all the models and the components locally. All the whole like tried replicating the whole workflow process locally and pushed a commit with all the new models. So next time when the workflow will run, the number of commits will be less and it will sync up the sheets, which looks good. Just few reviews here that I need to like reply to. And next I worked on this GitHub. One of the thing I was working on is GitHub wizard in import wizard in Google in Meshery Cloud, which has some issues. While exploring those issues, I came across this authentication issue in Meshery Cloud. So was the fix for that, where there was like wrongfully we were using path to a private key as a private key instead of reading the file. So yeah, these two things I worked on mostly, and like working on the issue for the file support in the GitHub import wizard. So yeah, that's the update. Any feedback, any questions?
I think there's not for now. So thanks a lot for your updates. I do share the links of your PRs in chat so that anyone who want to take a look, they can. All right, then we have Fahim. Fahim, do you mind sharing your update?
So today I was not working on anything new, but I had couple previous PRs that needed some fix. So the first one was the optimize the notification image. So there was a couple of changes that were requested and some code refactoring. So I fixed it and this PR is ready to merge. So now it looks something like this. There were some changes requested earlier in the Slack also. And the second thing that I was working on, some changes were requested by Vivek on this refactoring of the code. So I was working on that also, and also this PR is ready to get merged. There was some ES lint issues that were fixed, and I also added them. So today I worked on these two things. This is not anything new.
Yeah, Fahim, so
Any-
it's really great. But like on this particular PR, there is still many files who have like white spaces and formatting changes not pointed into the issue that we have at the end. So if it's possible for you to revert them, this will, help a lot.
I tried to revert that back to its initial position. Otherwise, the other option is that I can create a new PR. That I think that would be
Yes.
very
Yeah, so like we also can do that. So that way we are definite that, which files we are making changes to, and I'm not bothering with, other positions where we actually are not making any changes, but there are just some, repositioning of the code. So that really makes it difficult. Yeah, that would
got
also be
it.
helpful.
Got it. So yeah, these were from my side.
Any feedback for him? All right, so thanks a lot for your tips, Fahim. Next up, we have this Helm Canvas snapshot update from Ijoma, and I hope Ijoma is on the call. Yep, there she is. Do you mind sharing your update?
Yeah, yep. So let me quickly share my screen. Okay. I think 2 weeks ago, I uploaded the Helm Canvas snapshot, but I just wanted to check that it was working properly, or we're not going to run into any error on the artifact hub, and it did work well. So I think now I want to take this down, but I'll need someone with access to upload this on Meshery's artifact hub. Yeah, Lee. I think
Yeah,
this.
John, good. John, does the plugin work?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, nice. Good.
Sorry, it does partially. That's the second part of the email. That's the next thing I wanted to talk about. That doesn't work now, but we can generate a snapshot and just get the URL in the terminal. That works already.
Oh, good. Okay. It sounds like that second part is probably fairly small, so that's probably easy.
Yeah. So I think sometime last year I implemented that on Meshery Cloud, but I no longer have access to it. So I'm not sure if the PR was meshed, or I don't really know what they updated. So yeah,
It was,
I
there's
guess it was.
there's an API, there's API docs for Meshery Cloud. Are you familiar with those?
No,
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me
I'm
drop
not.
a link. Here is a link to those in the Zoom chat. They should help. If they don't, we need to enhance them with a better description or an example.
Okay. Let me search.
And then in terms of Artifact Hub, so there's a repo out there that that has a kubectl plugin, and Artifact Hub recognizes those types of plugins, so it treats it as a specific, like a dedicated type, like a crew plugin, And that artifact hub repo is from what you were saying is ready to be associated to the Meshery org on artifact hub. Nice. Is there a mechanism for you to initiate that move?
No. I guess you have to do that. There's really no way for me.
Well, yeah, well, that'd be weird if I could come over and steal your repo, right?
Yeah, it will be weird, but when you mean initiate the move, you mean like me trying to upload it on Meshery's artifact hub. Is that what you mean?
No, just like transfer. You created a repo on Artifact Hub, and so it's that web page that you were sitting on, and then
Oh yeah, yeah.
if you want to transfer that to, so it's under the Ijoma org, and
Yeah.
if you're looking to transfer that to a different org, I would imagine that the owner of the repo would need to initiate the transfer. I'm not.
I'll check it. I don't think I even knew about like the fact that we can transfer. So I'll just read if there's something like that, then maybe that should work.
Okay, yeah, I'll sign in while we're on the call as well to see if I can see if we can get it moved over.
Yeah.
This is great. It's great. That's great. That'll be the first.
Yeah. Sorry if I continue.
No, that's okay.
I wanted to say that I see that there's an API to send Meshery snapshot email to users. So API was probably merged. So I'll test it out and see if that works and then update you.
Yeah, is Pranav being responsive here? It would be good to have him in tow. There's been a couple of times where just concepts have been misunderstood, sort of like what we're talking about with this repo and transferring it. It'd be great to have him as a partner in crime.
Okay, I'll ping him.
Yeah, if you don't mind, yeah, it'd be good to put him to work.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the update for me. Thanks for the URL. So I'll work on that.
Nice. That's great. It'll be the first one of the first Meshery kubectl plugin and the first Meshery kubectl plugin on Artifact Hub as well. So that's pretty neat. We'll have to get a blog post out.
Yeah, I actually wanted to start writing a blog post, but I didn't want to write the blog post without the email thing
Oh, yeah.
working. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why I need to work on that. Then I'll put out a blog post. Yeah, that's all for me.
Nice.
Thank you, Ijoma. So for anyone, who's interested to take a look at the tool, this is a tool which lets you, generate a visual snapshot of your hem chart. So this is the repo location that I also shared in chat. You can, go install and see it for yourself. Next up, we'll be having this update from Amit on dashboard enhancements. So Amit, are you all set?
Yeah. So I'm working on this one feature enhancement, like the make the dashboard reflectable. So I come up with something like this. So previously there is only one honeycomb sort of component for that shows only the resource overview what we are in the cluster. And so I created some of the widgets that we can put onto the dashboard, like those widgets. Like this is the designs for the particular logged in user, the workspace activities, and this is the getting started template. So this is the same component that we saw in the cloud. And the one thing is like it is completely refactorable, like we can do all of the stuff that if we want to delete any something, then it will go here and we can add those things into the dashboard again. And also I save this layout into the user preferences. So if I refresh and come back to the same dashboard, it will look like what we saved previously. So I stored those dashboard data into the user preferences. And like some of the things are like the major thing are not compatible with this local provider thing, like this workspace activity or this my designs. And so this getting started template was the same that we are showing in the Meshery cloud dashboard, like with this all of the functionality.
Whoa. Those are some big changes. Some big so this is all just draft at the moment. And given that there's a few of these changes, do you envision, oh, that's neat. Do you envision, if I could complete my thought, like some of this being ready earlier than some of the rest of it? If so, what does that look like?
So sorry, I'm not able to get. Can you repeat?
Yeah, so there's a few things. So to recap what you just said, it sounds like there's about three significant things here. One is that there's a proposal and work that's to be done as part of the .9 release for well, it's been discussed as like customizable telemetry, the ability to have different charts and display different metrics and to allow users choice over what metrics, what charts to show in what panels on what page, kind of a thing. And that the first portion of what you're showing here facilitates that. It's like it's a framework for having customizable dashboard widgets or panels. And inside of these panels can be a variety of things. Charts like the one that you're showing here, could be metrics in a line chart. And so there's a framework for resizing them, setting them, persisting them. That's one thing that's there. The second thing is like the widgets themselves, the panels and the content that goes inside of them. And then the third thing you were showing was like potentially sort of related to how you get started with a dashboard and how you land into this dashboard is a separate like getting started step-by-step kind of guide, which is relevant to what we were saying about the connection wizard being deprecated earlier on the call and how something like that might come back. And so something like this, let's get started, might be a connection wizard taking people through the steps of getting their infrastructure, getting Meshery connected to their Kubernetes clusters. So there's kind of three things that you'd mentioned here. My question is, do you foresee potentially some of these being ready before the next, or are all three of these intended to be land in one big fat PR?
Yeah, what I created currently, it is ready for the in the one PR, it is ready to go. Like I have to create some of the put some of the component that we use in the both places, like the getting started, these widgets, put it into the assistant, and from the assistant I will use those widgets, so we don't have to make same code in the both repos. So yeah, we can finish this what I'm showing stuff in the one big PR.
Thanks, Amit.
Nobody else has any other feedback on that, huh?
This is Sangram here. Am I audible?
Yes.
I still think we should have that multi-cluster, some statistics about multi-cluster here. I mean, we spoke about it on chat. Given that we are promoting the product as a multi-cluster management feature as well. There should be at least 1 or 2 tiles or widgets, at least showing how many Kubernetes clusters are connected, 1 to whatever that is, and maybe maybe one of the other multi-cluster statistics. I think that we should have, or at least one that shows the total number of Kubernetes clusters connected, and maybe the total number of connections as well. I mean, I understand we want to dynamically do it from telemetry at some point, but for now, I at least feel it's not a bad idea to get that like we used to get it before, and maybe at least show 2 of them, or have an option for people to plot it if they want to. Thanks.
I've been going through an experiment today to see what happens when I don't say anything. Like, every single one of you on this call, just like what Sangram just did, the guy spoke up, said, "Hey, I feel like there's a real opportunity here for Meshery to showcase its prowess." Right? There are not a lot of other multi-cluster managers. There are not. There are quite a few Kubernetes dashboards, and they most often will show you information about a single cluster. Some of them let you switch between clusters and look at a different cluster, but only one cluster at a time. It's like 10 years into Kubernetes, and some of them have started to get to a multi-cluster view, so you can see info from both clusters at the same time, but most of them don't yet. And so Sangram's point is like, wow, we're sort of leaving that on the table, or like that's pretty special. We should probably, not only is it special and differentiating, but it's also super helpful. If any of you work with Kubernetes in your environments, and some of you are thinking, well, I don't really run workloads, or I'm not at a full-time role, and so we don't have, but actually, if you're participating here, then Sangram, how many clusters are we running for between the playground? Is it like 3?
No, 2 clusters for now. Just
okay.
the new one and the previous one.
Okay. And so just in this environment and in this project, we've got 2 clusters. It would be nice to have a consolidated view to see, what their available capacity is, or to see what pods are not doing what they're supposed to do, or to see there's all kinds of telemetric things to view. But there's also just information like what Amit was showing, like, hey, there was a Meshery. Here's the 5 latest Meshery designs that have been deployed, and to which cluster they were deployed, or of those latest 5 that were deployed, where were those resources created? And that would be like across potentially a couple of different clusters. When you deploy a design, for those of you who've used Meshery to deploy a design, you might recollect that the wizard, the shopping cart, so to speak, that you go through when you deploy a design, it asks you which Kubernetes clusters do you want to deploy to. So it's a multi-cluster deployment thing, which I'm just sort of reinforcing Sangram's point that like, oh, great. So there should be multi-cluster views here. Good. And I'm quite sure Amit is vehemently in agreement with Sangram on this. Like, yeah, great, good.
Yeah.
And that he's not necessarily showing off some widgets that have multi-cluster info, aggregated, just because we don't have, our Meshery doesn't have some of those APIs handy for the UI so there's a little bit of API enhancement to be done as part of this release to help ensure that even if it's just super high level, I'm assuming for Sangram, but wait, actually, I won't make this assumption. I think this is one of the things I was going to say is that it would be really great. It would be swell if Amit, kind of like what you had done with organizing the next steps on the UI, for Next.js, the various framework. If it'd be great if someone on the call or off the call were to write down, write down a list of widgets, just simple name of called latest deployed designs, and a super small description of what that widget, what data information that widget would convey. That'd be great. Like we could start to iterate on those and chop them up and just make sure and sort of prioritize them. And I would expect, one or a handful of them would be multi-cluster oriented, right?
Yeah.
And
For
part of
for
what
now, can we not? So I understand that API requirement would definitely be necessary. But for now, can we not just use the connections information to kind of? So for now, we anyways have connections. See if I have two Kubernetes clusters connected, I will see two connections for Kubernetes type there. So all I have to do is kind of show two. Similarly, the other kind of connectors. And later on, when we have the APIs in place, we can come up with new kind of widget. So we can call this a legacy, and the other one is modern, whatever. So I guess for now, getting that quick information should still be possible from the connections option. So yeah, I mean, I know you have to figure it out, but I'm just giving ideas if that's possible. Sure. Thanks.
I think Amit might have created one. I think for connection here, some graph.
Yeah, I created for only the Kubernetes connection that summarized like how many found, not found, and how many found based on the status of this.
Yeah. What's funny? What's funny, or maybe it's not funny at all, is like, here's an older version of, sorry. Here's Abid, please unmute at will. Wow. If we go back in the time machine, back about 3 or 4 years now. Here's a screenshot of Meshery's dashboard. Just on the dashboard, it used to have connections, these chips that we use to represent connections. And if you were connected to if you had more than one Kubernetes connection, the chips would be listed. And so I just chuckle because it's not what Sangram had just said is really, it's the same thing that we had before. I don't know that he wasn't necessarily envisioning that it looked just like this, but basically he was saying, hey, we're already tracking the fact up here, and you can see it wasn't a capability before, but the fact that you might have one or more Kubernetes cluster connections, like, great, we've already got that data. Maybe that's a quick win, is to show the status of those chips or see that they're connected, or just to be aware of it. Yeah, totally. As we go to itemize these various widgets, what they might be and what they would show, what questions they would answer, it would be ideal if we do catalog those or propose those in context of what questions they answer. It'd be helpful. And if people are suggesting, oh, it would be nice if it was a such and such style chart, or it visually presented it in this way, all the better. Amit, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked like, of what's being proposed, that on the left-hand side of what you were showing, and feel free to steal the sharing and share if you want to, but that there would be a repository, or like a collection of predefined widgets that, based on user preference, people could choose to pull in different charts, different widgets. And so I guess the reason I'm pointing that out is to say, all of the ideas that I might have for widgets might not get used, while all the ideas for Sangram's widgets might get heavily used. And the nice thing is, about as we go to lay out those widgets and suggest which ones to have and what they would convey, what questions they would answer, is that it's okay for us to be a little bit, we don't want to be wrong totally, but it's okay if there's user choice here. So, and actually it'll be nice if if we have a little bit of telemetry built in to see which widgets people are using lots of and stuff. And so this is
What do we
great.
mean by Kubernetes connection status here? I mean, what are we referring to in terms of connections here? The Kubernetes connection status.
So it is like the connects the how many here the Kubernetes we are connected. So what is the status of those? It might be wrong.
Okay.
Like, here
Okay. Yeah. So this is actually what I was referring to. So I guess we'll have to call it something better and say number of Kubernetes clusters, maybe a separate option, just shows a big number 7 and says that you are I'm just thinking out loud. I'm open to obviously poll or something like that. So yeah, so so let's say we have 7 Kubernetes clusters. So we'll have to say it such and say, okay, number of Kubernetes clusters, 7, and then maybe later on have a pie chart that differentiates between the type of connections, or I don't know, the type of Kubernetes connections, if that's a classification at all, something like that. Okay. Sorry, Lee, you didn't finish your thought. Please go ahead.
Oh, no, that's great. I went into like 3 different thoughts, I think, and the first one sounded narcissistic. Actually, it wasn't meant to be. I was saying that I was trying not to speak up on the call today, so that I was intentionally ensuring that everyone understands there's much room for you all and your brains and your thoughts and your energy and fingers and mouse clicking. There's one of the problems that Meshery has is that it's too big. Or I wouldn't phrase it like that. That's not, I was trying to phrase it differently. One of the beautiful like problems, which is also part of why some people are attracted to Meshery, is it has a large scope. There are not enough fingers represented on the 20 plus people who are on this call to undertake that scope. So like there's a ton of room for you guys for you all to do something. Anyway, I was just trying to say, hey, I was trying not to speak up so you guys can jump in and do things. And Sangam did exactly that, and that's perfect. Yeah, I mean, for my part, I have a distaste for like, I don't think, Amit wasn't really, Amit is sort of asking for feedback on the widgets and sort of not. He was mostly just saying, hey, look, you can actually, customize the dashboard now. And here's a smattering of widgets that were just kind of copied and pasted just to sort of get things rolling, get the conversation rolling. So when I say something like, for my part, a pie chart, it doesn't do it for me in terms of Kubernetes connection status. He doesn't take that as personal feedback because he's just trying to do exactly that. So this is wonderful. I can't wait for us to lay out, just have discourse over what those widgets are. And it'd be great if it was contentious discourse. I don't imagine that it will be in any regard. I think what I was trying to say is like, you can, even if you go wrong and some widgets are created that don't get a lot of use, it's fine. As a matter of fact, if we don't do that, then we're not innovating here. We're not getting to the right widgets. I'll shut up after this. One of my concerns is, well, it's the efficiency by which the data is aggregated on the back end, the efficiency by which the APIs that need to pre-crunch the data, some of the data that from my part, I would really like for us to be able to show. A lot of the data is pretty similar to, well, if you've ever used something like a lens is one of the tools, or like it's data like, if we had the right telemetry, it would be data like, what are my top 10 talkers? Like which pods are most heavily being requested, facilitating servicing requests right now. That's helpful also. So that's just a tabular thing, but that's based on some telemetry. It could be which ones have been are there any that like it'd be great if there were a couple of widgets that were focused on trouble spots? Are any stuck in crash loop back off? Are any in the not running state? Like bubble those up. At some point, we might like Meshery facilitates or tracks status of any of the entities that it manages. So whether that's a model or a component inside of a design, or whether that's an instance of a pod or something else that it has discovered and is actively managing, it has a status property for each of those entities. And so things like, and so actually one of the dashboards that's there today, if you look at that honeycomb and you dig into some of the resources that are those entities that have been discovered, those resources that have been discovered, they have a status field that we show. And I think we, call it out, colorize it accordingly. Anyway, what I was saying is one of my concerns is the performance underneath the covers, the continual ingestion of this mesh sync information, this information from each of the clusters, and the continual then processing of that data and the calculation of it, the aggregation of it to show. There's facilities in place right now inside of Meshery, and it does this. But as we finally come about and earnestly consider what that aggregate info can and should be, that will stress that there's some work to be done on the back end. The work is not done on the back end in part because there's not enough contributors, but it's also in part not done because what we really need are suggestions, just like what Sangram just said. We need that list of widgets and the questions that we have before we can write the answers. And because the API will reflect what those answers need to be. So it'd be great. I mean, we need someone to be the tip of the spear, someone to lead this and say, hey, here, I've got a collection I wrote down some notes on what the widgets might be. Let's have that discourse here. And sometimes we use the discussion forum, sometimes we use the mailing list, sometimes we use a design spec, or sometimes we use Figma, whatever. But just somebody to, organize it. So. Great. Well, it's too bad Kapil isn't here. We'll have to, Amit, if you don't mind, you'll have to let him know he kind of missed out today on the discussion about customizable dashboards. I know he's interested. So.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Lee. So we are 1 minute over, and before we end the call, I would like to quickly share about calendar, which will let you know about all the meetings like this. So projects meeting as well as newcomers and community meetings. Link again is in chat. So with that, I thank you all to be joining this call and sharing your updates. We'll meet next Wednesday till then. Bye.
Bye.
Boom, bang, bing. Bye. See you. Thanks, Vivek. See you all.